So we've talked about the killer bees, the Barbera, the
Mm-hmm.
Barbaresco, and the Barolo.
Yep.
What else do we have in this area?
Well, then after that, you'd think you'd be finished, but you're not. You're not even close to finished. The next grapes that I would say probably, which are really gaining in prominence as well, are Dolcetto, meaning little sweet one. And in fact, we've got some of the Dolcetto grapes here, I think, today, which were harvested yesterday because we're at that time of year. But it makes some of the growers have been trying to put it in oak, but I think it's most successful when it is just treated as like a Beaujolais Nouveau.
Okay.
You know, when it's treated as a young wine, it's fresh. You drink it young, easy to drink. Great lunchtime drink. Great lunchtime red. Not overly alcoholic, but it's just wonderfully fruity. Little sweet one, so it gives. It's actually when it's produced and it's taken all the way through the vinification process. It's not that sweet, but it has got a lovely fruit-filled, big mouthful, easily quaffable. And then when we go from this one, we also have a couple of other grapes that some people might know about. We have a Brachetto, we have a Grignolino, and we also have another grape called Ruquet. The Brachetto normally would be grown and be grown and harvested as normally, but is treated a bit like the Moscato, white Moscato grape over here, which produces things people maybe would know about pretty well as like a nasty spumante. But so it's treated as a sweet wine. So often Brachetto will make a sweet, often naturally fizzy wine, which you drink cold, sometimes as an aperitif, but typically as a dessert wine. Sometimes great with chocolate. Really nice as a dessert wine with chocolate.
So what I'm hearing is, when we hear the word Asti in America, we think immediately of Asti Spumante.
Yeah.
And we think of this sweeter, fizzy wine that works well in some occasions, but in many others.
But a lot of people think of it as cheap and nasty and too sweet.
But you're mentioning Barbera d'Asti and some of these other wines from Asti that have absolutely nothing to do with Asti Spumante and are more along the lines of, closer to a Pinot Noir, certainly closer than to the Asti Spumante.
Absolutely. I mean, this. If you want to go, one of the things about this region is if you want to go from an aperitif all the way through the multiple plates of food that you can have in Piemonte, so all the way through a meal, there isn't really any other region in Italy that can take you from the start to the finish of a meal and afterwards to your digestives and stuff like that. Piemonte is amazing for that. So you could start with either a sparkling Moscato, but perhaps something a little more dry, if people like a drier wine, or certainly not a sweet wine. Then you could start with a slightly sparkling Arnais, which, because this area is mostly known for its red wines with the Barolos and the Barberas and stuff. People tend to forget there's also some fantastic indigenous white wines. So you could start with something like a nice, slightly floral, wonderful nose, apricots and light summer fruits, and you start with something like that. You can start the meal with a Dolcetto, and then as you go through, or maybe after that, maybe a Gavi, if you'd like. If you prefer to start with a white, start with a Gavi, which is made from the Cortese grape, which is and the best expression of the Cortese grape is the town of Gavi, very, again, part of the Piemonte region, and you go from that through to a nice, maybe as I say, a Dolcetto or a Barbera. Then maybe once you reach the rich and the heavy meat onto your Nebbiolo, maybe a Barbaresco or a Barolo, and then to finish, maybe a light either Brachetto, or even depending on what you're eating. If you're having fresh summer peaches, have Moscato. It is superb. Truly, truly superb. The two are a marriage.
Sounds wonderful. Now, here in this region, in addition to the wines that you grow here, I hear about the white truffle. How does the white truffle fit in with these wines? Because it just sounds wonderful.
Well, you've got to remember that the Piemontese, which is the home of the slow food movement, has this fundamental belief, and people, they don't even really talk about it because it's just part of who they are and how they are and what their culture is. But food and wine simply work together like this. And so when it gets, the truffle comes out, best times of year for the truffle are October, November time, when we start to get those colder mornings, slightly damp mornings, but not hopefully too damp, which is good, so the truffle hunters and stuff will be out finding the truffles. And when they bring them in, and as I say, those, and then the evenings draw in and it's cold, with a truffle, we will have simple food. You'll have a bowl of fresh pasta. You will have maybe a cheese sauce, or you might just have, our truffle hunter has fried eggs with his truffle shaved on top, But it's simple country style food. And with that, and because it's cold outside, this is when they'll bring in the stronger wines. So they'll bring in the reds. They'll often be seen having a glass of Barbera or a glass of the Nebbiolo in whatever guise, with the truffle. And those together, well, you just have to try it. You just have to taste it.
Well, come on out here to Piemonte, join us, and let's try some of this wonderful wine and wonderful food.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Pleasure.